It is always difficult after lunch having a presentation, but I will try because most of you are tired. You have heard a lot of things, and a lot of things which is probably you already know. So I thought I'm going to change a little bit because I was 1.5 hours in this meeting today, and I'm not going to repeat every good things which you already told us. But just one thing, because you asked about voice and the role of voice. I was 4 years ago responsible for mobile banking of ING in the Netherlands, and we launched fully payments on voice 4 years ago, so it's already here. Okay, so it's a little bit about me. I've been working in financial sector for many years and moved actually 2 years ago to Nationale Nederlanden Group. It's an insurance and banking environment, actually the market leader in the Netherlands, Belgium, but also in 16 different other countries. We have business, and we have business of life, non-life, investment management, and banking. In the Netherlands, in the Dutch market, NN Bank is the 5th bank in terms of savings and mortgages. And we are fully direct bank, so we do not have any branches. Now, when I moved actually from ING to NN, one of the major questions was, how can you bring with your team technology to this company and help to transform actually our environment? And I was just busy 1 year with that transformation, and suddenly we acquired Delta Lloyd in the Netherlands, and my whole agenda changed from transformation into integration. I know those are our old buzzwords, but it was real transformation. And I'm going to share a little bit with you what is that transformation is about. I'm not saying that that is the right thing, but just sharing my own personal experience. Maybe you have any benefit of that. I think a few years ago we discussed about mobile. Is it mobile important or internet? It's the past. You know, if you go to any company, they are talking about mobile and mobile first and cloud first. So the role of technology in the company of today is for everyone, even at the board, is clear. Although not all of the CIOs are sitting in the board. The board members are 50 plus or 60 plus, having a lot of trouble to manage their own iPhone. If they have a problem, they have FIP support to actually learn them how to use functionality. And those people are going to run most important companies in this world. So that's something which we need to change. But happily, this discussion is over, and we all know the importance of new technology. Again, this kind of companies has been actually successful in the past and have much more asset of companies of 80 years or 60 years old. So another example how technology can change our beliefs, our lives, and our business. And I think the most important part, you know, Darwin talked about adaptivity, and I'm talking about speed. Because speed is the most important part in today's business. And I'm not talking about huge difference between different companies, but sometimes just launching a product, providing a service just 1 day before your competitor make a huge difference. So speed is really not something which is nice to have. Speed is not something which say, okay, but speed is today market share for all of us. We want to keep our share. We want to increase actually the level of interaction with the customers. We need to increase speed. And what is the biggest problem in big corporate company is speed. I mean, previous speakers talked about 14 departments you need to roll out some new initiatives. I was responsible at that time for ING, and I had to deal with 70 departments to get things in production. And just having those kind of meetings will take months and months and months, and it takes actually whole speed from you away. So speed. And now the major question is, when the customer asks something from you, you're already late. And that's a mindset. That's a mindset because most of our companies or marketing departments or innovation managers are doing a lot of exercise to understand what the customers need. But that's already late. And that mindset, getting that mindset in big corporate organization is a huge transformation. Now, I'm talking about digital area. And what is actually the main difference if you compare organization in the digital era and the traditional one, and give you a little bit insight about my own personal experience. To understand that, we need to understand what has been changed in the customer behavior. And everywhere where I come, people talk about changing of customer behavior. So I thought, I want to understand it. What is that behavior which is changing and have impact in my life and in my area? And if I have time, I'm going through some of them. Number one, let's talk about brands. If you look at a traditional organization, they build a brand by marketing, am I right? They pump actually billions of euros to television marketing, other campaigns to build a brand. Have you seen any marketing campaign from Uber? No answer? You haven't seen it? You're right. There's nothing wrong with your eyes. They are not doing that. When I talked to CEO of Uber and I asked him how they market actually their brand, he said, the feedback of our customers is our marketing. That's easy to say, very difficult to do, because you need to have a mindset when you develop your product to get that feedback and do something about it. That's a huge change in the digital era. People can make or break your company by giving the right feedback or feedback about their experience, what they see, what they feel, what they experience. Another one, when we are talking about performance in most of applications or mobile solutions, we are talking about milliseconds. And in the most of the companies, we have still application which has been made in 1974 or 1960, huge number of legacies, and we build a lot of things on top of that to increase the level of speed. But look at yourself. When you are on a site and you want to see some content and it takes actually more than 1 second, probably you will make a choice to actually go away from the site. So that speed, that performance becomes actually key to keep your attention in your company. Now we are talking about just performance, but getting it done in an environment which you have a lot of legacy and old environment is really huge investment. And most of those investment is actually related to the mindset of the company itself. Technology can solve actually those things, but the way we think about it and the way we design is totally traditional one. Now, if you're talking about straight to processing, that's something which all of the companies are busy because some of them think that digitalization means that you actually do everything which you do today, but via digital infrastructure. And that's not the case. Every customer, even you and you, want to be seen as a unique customer. So that processes at ABN AMRO or my company has not built for 10 million people, but has been made for you. So we need actually to think about those kind of things when we are going to deliver new products or services. And those kind of change in behavior of the customers are very, very, very difficult to get in many of corporate companies. Now, if you look at those kind of changes, and I just talked about customer behavior change and not a regulatory change, then you see that in your business model, you need to do a huge shift. Number one, shift in terms of local platforms to global platforms. If you go to China and you talk to people, they are not talking about building a WhatsApp solution for 1.5 million people. They are thinking about building a solution for 100 million of people, 200 million of people. So they think globally, and when they build something, they build actually global-minded solution. Let's look at, for example, also in technology. Instead of working with in-house databases, all kind of controls you have in today's business, we can use, for example, blockchain. Not blockchain as an objective itself, but as a way to actually answer the need of customers. So there is a lot of changes in the way we are delivering products, we are serving our customers. There is a lot of changes in the way we are organizing ourselves, being able to be in front of the customers and deal with them with speed and quality. That change is huge when it comes to leadership, when it comes to you or people like you in the organization. Because in the traditional organization, we all manage for result. Result is important. All of us have KPIs, and we need to deliver KPIs. In a digital era, in a place where fintechs are actively working, you are actually responsible to creating an environment and managing an environment for result, so other people can perform. And I know from practical part, it is very easy to say, maybe that's cliché, it's very difficult to do. Because let me talk about myself. My natural actually way of leadership is pushing actually for result and getting result more and more and more. But creating an environment that will take actually time, patience, and different type of leadership. So what can we learn? We see actually in the market, then when it comes to change of organization, you're talking about product and services, but the emphasis is on services. There is no big difference between mortgage product or saving product between different banks. All of them are probably the same. The differentiator is the way they are interacting with the customer. When the customer has a problem, how they deal with it. And are they listening or just aiming to get more and more profit? When you look at the successful companies, you need to look at the teams and culture instead of individuals and departments. That's a huge shift. Individuals are part of a team, and team is responsible for the result. It asks, again, a different type of leadership. And again, technology, for many years, was cloud one of the topics which all of the financial companies said, we are not allowed to go there because of rules and regulation, because of the Dutch National Bank or outside of that. When I started at NN Group in 2016, we decided to go to public cloud. And everyone say it's not possible. So we went and talked to the regulator. And today, most of our data is in AWS and Microsoft Azure. Public cloud. So a lot of assumptions where people take in their mind and talk about regulator or everything which limited them in their capability to grow and put new technology there. Now the technology of cloud helped me to increase actually the level of speed of development in anything, because instead of waiting for 3 months to get a server up and running, I can have it now in 3 seconds. And that makes a huge difference when it comes to speed. Now, let's talk a little bit about the big issues when it comes to the organization, big organization. Number one is the governance. He was talking about 14 departments. Most of us, you know, you're sitting in a group of people when it comes to go live of a product, and you have some kind of go, no-go decision making. Is it familiar to us, to you, or is it just in my company? And you have to deal with 30 people who does not understand the product, does not understand you know, they have different agenda. When, you know, I was responsible at ING in 2010 for the channels environment. And when it comes to channels, it is internet banking, mobile banking, call center, branches, and sales forces. And it was very interesting because when I took over from my previous colleague, I suddenly got 35 conference calls in my agenda in a week. And I promise you one thing, those conference calls were not to give me a compliment. It was all about escalation. This program is too late. This program needs more money. This requirement is not taking into place. And I had a huge organization to prepare me. So you have 35 conference calls, and because you're CIO, you get a lot of preparation before. So it becomes 70 meetings. And just after 3 weeks, I came to the conclusion that I can go to any escalation meeting without any preparation. So I killed all the preparation meetings, because I had always 3 reasons to say why something is not delivered, why something is late, and why I need more money. Number 1, the requirements were not clear. I could say it everywhere, without knowing about the topic, about, Reason number 2, we are working with some external parties. They didn't deliver. I could say that everywhere, because in any teams we had 3 people here, 2 people in India, 5 people in Egypt, distributed way of working. That was number 2. And number 3, while we started actually with this program, there is a lot of change has been happened, and the scope has been shifting everywhere. So with those 3 reasons, I could actually manage the whole governance. But that's actually not good. Because what you're doing, you're dealing with the organization in the same way. And at that time, me and my team decided not actually to go any kind of those conference calls. And we had some other escalation why we didn't went actually to the conference calls. But the governance in big companies is really huge, huge problem. Processes are too long, and you have many, many steps in a process to get something done. Most of the companies still working on traditional way of developing products. They have design phase, they have build phase, test phase, implementation, and some of them are moving into DevOps environment where they think that they are actually doing all of those things in one team, but in one team they have a still separation of building, testing, implementation, support. So they just translate the old world into a team instead of transforming the whole environment to something new. Many documents, many people, many departments. And I want to give you just one example of that moment in the beautiful company of ING. When I started, I went to a team and asked, show me how many documents do you create for a project of 1,400 hours. And 1,400 hours for a company such as bank is not a big project, am I right? It's about 1 FTE internally, because externally you count with 1,600 hours and internally 1,400 hours, because internally people need to work less than externals. That's the mindset of organization. So I ask, how many documents do you create for a project of 1,400 hours? Any answer? Huh? Come on, be realistic. My God. 82 documents. But is it a problem? Now, if it is just 82 documents and they add value, that's not a problem. So I ask, how many of those 82 documents do you need after go live? 3. What are other documents for? It's actually just to manage your own internal organization. Now, the problem there is not just managing of your organization. The problem is, if you look, what is the process of creating such document? Because you write it, and you have 14 other departments which is going to review, give you comments, wants to have meeting, and be sure that their comments take into account. And that's why you need actually so much time to deliver something. Still, in many of big companies, you have huge number of processes and process steps to get something done. We are rewarding the culture of doing things big and big and bigger. And I want to give you one example. Are you a manager? So I am an employee. And I come to you and I say, What's your name? I'm sorry. Ebe, from Aegon. Oh, you have the same problem. Um, much worse. I know your company. So I come to you and I say, Ebe, I want to have a promotion. I say, good. Why? I say, you know, until last month, I was leading 200 people, and today I'm leading 20 people. You look at me and say, so what? No, changing my job, eh? Until last month, I have to deal with a program which was 5 million euro, the average program. And today I'm doing average program of 100,000 euros. And up to 2 months ago, my stakeholders were executive and super executive and VIPs, internal and external. Today I am interacting just with normal people. And I want to have a promotion. What are you going to say to me? Can I get applause for this guy? If he is doing that in Aegon, then Aegon will be actually the winner of the market. But I have some slight doubt about it. Because most of the managers, I'm not talking about you, Ebe, say, your promotion is based on the scope of your responsibility. And if your scope is bigger, more complex, more money involved, you get actually into a higher position. The difference between a program director and project leader is that program director running actually 6 programs and project leader just 1. And whom gets more money in the company? Not in Aegon, but in other companies. Who gets more money? Project leader or program leader, director? That's rewarding of wrong culture. That's rewarding of culture of making things big and big and bigger. And if you look at FinTechs, what are they doing? They are making things smaller. The whole idea of winning the market and winning the heart and minds of people is to make things smaller. But in big companies, we are rewarding actually the wrong incentive. Productivity. If you want to do more, what is the first thing you do? You have more budget this year than last year. What are you going to do? Not you, but people like me. Hiring more people. Because you have money, you have budget, you are going to start new initiatives, you are actually starting new projects. The only way that the big corporate companies could deal with productivity is more people or less people. If at the end of the year they have some crisis or the results are not very positive and they should go down in their costs, they send actually externals away. Am I right? Usually in December they got a letter that they can take 2 weeks free. So the only way they deal with productivity in the company is more people or less people. And that's totally different than in FinTech. FinTech's company are thinking about automating everything which you are going to do more than one time. You automate it. How many of your testing activities at Aegon are automated? Too few. That's a still good answer. So a lot of manual work in the big companies. Collaboration, a big challenge. I'm not going to talk about it. I think it's clear because 2 departments close to each other, probably not even seen each other or not talk to each other. And sometimes if you have an event and you say, "Hi, my name is Amir." "Oh, Amir, I have spoken with you 2 times. I'm sitting close to you." So the level of collaboration in the company already very, very bad. So, speed and agility. I thought maybe that's a good picture. Because this guy, Muhammad Ali, was master of speed and agility. Watching what's happened at that time, adapting actually yourself at that time, and having the right speed to react. That is something which is the whole transformation is all about in big companies. If we are not going to dance like Muhammad Ali, I think we are going to die. Because there are a lot of other companies which are going to take this action And people, customers are going to reward those type of. So I'm not talking about profit, because many of companies, many of banks in the past, they got years and years more profit and more profit, and they didn't care about customers. Customers were not there, actually. The customers were actually too expensive for them. I was responsible at ING for global digital channels and payment services, so know everything about payments. And I know that the payments cost of one transaction was more than the amount each customer pay for the whole year for their bank account. So payments transaction that doesn't deliver money. Where does come money from? From the interaction of products which we didn't understand what it is. I sell it to you and you sell it to someone else, and it was a business itself. Years in, years out, 20% more. Not because customers were more happy, but because we made actually all of us rubbish products. Now, there are two things, in my opinion, which blocks big companies, not you, from the change. Now, and I'm going to share my idea about it. Number one is the complexity in the landscape. You have old environment, new environment. You have interfaces, which is so-called the spaghetti interfaces. If you want to change something, you need to exactly understand what it's all about. It is the technical complexity. The second one is legacy in beliefs. And I see it in many large companies. Words like as, it is not possible. We have done it before. You know, in this environment, you should be careful about it. Those kind of things are things which I call corporate memory. And you cannot take them away just by shifting to another leadership. It's really long work to move that into it is possible. Let's go and try it. If they tried before and it was not successful, it is more a good reason to do it more. That's a total different type of mindset. And at the end, when it comes to digital organization, you're talking about breaking the silos, working in a small team end-to-end together, having customer in your mind always. An interesting one that is something which I see actually every day, creating a place where every day people comes because they like to be there. And if you do that, I think you're able to make any transformation successful. Thank you very much.